Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for jumping on the call tonight. Really happy to kind of be presenting this to all of our members, both on the guys side and the girls side as well. My name's Jack Burns. I'm the Sports Performance Director for the MLS Academy and Boys Program. We have two guests with us today, Mr. Eric Diggs and also Jordan Cook, who are our partners at B3 and done a fantastic job so far over the last 6 months or so, delivering our sports performance piece that we introduced earlier in January, February time. And with that being said, tonight is all about the nutrition portion of our sports performance program, hoping to deliver and provide a resource for our players where we can really optimize that nutritional aspect to our performance. Obviously, we're training and trying to achieve some really high performance, and along the way we train very rigorously, and it's very important that we understand what our nutritional habits are, and how to best optimize our nutritional habits on a day-to-day basis, not just on a game day or maybe the day before a game, but understanding what we put into our bodies and how it affects our performance over the course of the season, but also understanding how that can really set us up for a healthy lifestyle for the long term as well. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and begin our presentation today. We won't try to go any longer than the 30 minutes that we've allotted for the evening. Also want to be conscious of your time tonight. So without that being said, just a bit of an overview of how tonight is going to work. I'll give a little introduction to both Eric and Jordan. We'll go over and Mr. Eric will, with his expertise, go over the importance of nutritional awareness and habits within young athletes. Then we've been able to work closely with the B3 and the experts that they have in-house there to put some resources together for our academy players, and we'll be sending those resources via email later on this evening. So you guys don't have to screenshot anything or whatever. Your guys will have those resources sent over to you guys to have some reading for the summer. And then we'll obviously open that up, as we always do, for a bit of Q&A at the end, if anyone has any particular questions as such. So with that being said, I'm unsure if Jordan's on the call here, but I know Eric is as well. These are the two main guys that we've been working closely with on the nutritional pillar and the performance aspect over the last 6 months or so. So obviously Jordan's been heading up the more of the director position and leading a lot of the sports performance training, both at Patton Park and the B3 facility. And Mr. Eric Diggs, he's also on the call here today. He really looks after, and he's been working really diligently behind the scenes on the nutritional documents that we'll be sending over briefly. So without further ado, I'll let the main man kind of introduce himself and give a bit of a background of what he's done, where he's been, and some of the certifications that he has to his name as well, as you see on the screen here. Quite rigorous certifications that we're really proud to partner with. So Eric, I see you on screen here. If you could unmute yourself and maybe just give a bit of background about what you do, who you are, and maybe some of the athletes that you've been able to help and push in the nutritional scope.
Just so I know, Burnsy, I'm on.
Oh, perfect. Jordan, if you want to take us away and maybe just give us a bit of an overview.
Yeah, so it's a very same of kind of what Burnsy went over there, as far as with all that kind of stuff too. We came together, as most of you know, in the beginning of the year, looking to really try and help Burnsy and JFC as a club, trying to provide more of a holistic, high performance environment that no doubt most of these players are going to go on to experience as they move up through the ranks. So part and parcel of that, we know is such a big thing. We focus very heavy on the nutrition and all of those aspects, as well as the training. We know they're getting the high quality training from the coaches, Burnsy, Pat, Tommy, and all of those. You know, we were definitely trying to supply the strength and conditioning, but we have to look at the nutrition and the recovery aspect, because even if, you know, between practices and training with us and, you know, performance sessions, you know, they can take up maybe two hours a day. You know, what are they doing, you know, the stereotypical 22 hours a day to make sure that they're continuing their development, especially as they grow and it's such a rigorous sport. We needed to make sure that they were fueling their bodies right, especially with the schedules that you guys have, very, you know, compact schedules, two games in a weekend, or, you know, some people play in school as well, and stuff like that. It becomes quite management. So we have Eric over here that handles all of our nutritional stuff. And what's really good about Eric is he's going to give it you in real time of, hey, in every day to day, how can you make sure that you're actually hitting your nutritional requirements and making sure that you're doing it not just so for health, but actually for fitness, to fulfill all of the practices and that kind of stuff. Not the stuff that you're going to read in the text, but you know, stuff that you can actually follow those principles and actually hit your targets and actually see the improvement. So as you can see from there, Eric's going to take it away from now, and he's just going to go over the general gist of things, hit some points. But yeah, definitely. I know Burnsy will open up for questions at the end and stuff. Write some stuff down throughout. If you have any questions, Eric would be more than happy and love to answer some of those moving forward. Thank you, Jordan.
And I'll swing it over to Eric to maybe just give a bit of an overview of your background, some of the key things that you work closely with, and some of the history behind yourself as a practitioner as well.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we've got you loud and clear, Eric.
I'm sorry, the video and the recording and the audio were not connecting, so I had to get on my phone. I do apologize for the delay.
No problem. Fire away.
Okay, so the obviously we're looking at you know, our nutritional during the week. You know, as a nutritionist and a sports performance personal training and coach, nutrition is a big part of what we do. It's a foundational tool to everything that we do. When you are fueling your body during the week, it's all about recovering and getting ready for the weekend. Usually your games you have 2-3 games a day on the weekend. If you're not getting ready for the ramp up for the weekend on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. So what we always look at when we're talking about nutrition is, are you getting a balanced meal, 4 to 5 meals a day, 3 meals, 1 or 2 snacks every single day to fuel the systems for recovery. Now, you know, what I see a lot of this is a lot of protein. That's important for recovery, but we don't want to use that protein necessarily as an energy source. We want it as a recovery tool. So when we're talking about macronutrients, fats and carbohydrates are the energy sources that we're looking for, primarily carbohydrates as the initial source in glycogen, but the fats are considered a secondary energy source in nuts and in avocado and fish and cheese and milk and all those things that are then important for energy. The protein should be third on the list of macros to recover, right? So we're looking for energy source for sports performance. You should have a well-rounded breakfast, because obviously breaking fast is something that you're doing. You're going to be 8 to 12 hours without food. So the body needs to be replenished right away when it gets up with great carbohydrates and fats and some proteins. Lunch, again, balanced fruits, vegetables, some sandwiches, things of that nature. You always want to have some a little bit of sugar possibly to keep your body going. In the fruits, it's going to contain phytonutrients. Dinner, again, that's the end of the day. We're getting ready to go to sleep. The body is in recovery. That's when the growth hormone is excreted. So we need to optimize that growth potential with a good solid meal, good solid dinner, proteins, carbs, and fats. Pastas and rices and sweet potatoes and all of those things are highly important for carbohydrates. Proteins are chicken, fish, turkey, and the such. Snacks can be consumed between each meal. nuts and hummus and those kind of things are always very good. Fruits, you never go wrong with fruits. Bananas, which is full of potassium, apples, oranges, things of that nature. So what we're looking at is obviously hydration is another big tool that we want to make sure that we're going through. The summer times here is hitting hard. It's hot in the facility. It's hot outside. You need to be drinking 72 ounces to a gallon of water a day, every single day, right? So the body needs water as an energy source. There are 3 types of energy: water, oxygen, and food, which is the ATP. So we need water as an energy source in the muscle. If we're drinking a lot of water, we need minerals to hold the water into the muscle, particularly sodium. So we're looking at sodium and potassium, which is bananas and sweet potato, magnesium for recovery. Those minerals are highly important for recovery and for muscle activation and recovery. So we're looking at a gallon of water a day. Specifically, when you are game day, you want to start thinking about, like I said earlier, 48 hours prior to game day. If your game day is on Saturday, if you have a whole weekend loaded, you need to really start thinking about Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as those days that are ramping up, because your training schedule is diminishing a little bit as you're getting ready for the classes or for the game, excuse me. So we need to start ramping up those big meals, those pasta meals, those sweet potatoes, those big carbohydrate meals, fish and legumes and even avocados and things of that nature to get all the nutrients that you need. Get it stored into the muscle cells, right? Storing energy is huge at the back end of a game. Everybody's good at the front end of a game. Where's that energy going to come from at the back end of the game when you have the opportunity to win or lose that game? It is coming from the stored energy that you put in there, the carbohydrates and the fats. That's what we're looking for, particularly for the back end of games to win or lose a game. I think those are hugely important. Obviously, we have plenty of examples of what to snack on during the game. You want to hydrate. Even some Pedialyte, Sport Pedialyte they have, which is great for between games to kind of bring your electrolytes back into order, things of that nature.
Fantastic, Eric. I really appreciate you going into such detail. And I've just brought up onto the screen here a bit of a screenshot of these documents that we'll be providing some of the kids. I see some of them making some really good notes down here. And guys, if you see on screen, we've really looked at kind of 3 pillars of our nutritional kind of plan for the academy and for our players as well. So looking at, as Eric mentioned there, of okay, how are you fueling your body on a day-by-day basis leading into the game, and then as he also mentioned, the hydration piece as well being such a vital part of our nutritional intake as well, leading into especially these warmer months. I know a lot of the academy teams are playing through the remainder of June, and those temperatures are exceeding into the high 90s, and especially with the boys program heading over to Dallas, I know these hydration components are going to be really key, especially as we mentioned, playing many games in a short space of time as well. And then also going on to the game day, as you see here on the right hand side, where we're able to start now breaking down those food groups, and then also certain quantities of those food groups, as Eric mentioned, trying to get a really a kind of a mixture and variety of our diet, and also giving us some prime examples of some key foods that we can kind of tap into to get those nutrients, as he mentioned. So as I progress shortly, Jordan, do you have anything for myself or Eric in terms of questions or things that you'd like to highlight?
Yeah. Again, thanks, Eric. Again, as you can see, Eric's really going heavily, into detail there. But just to kind of reiterate and kind of piggyback, and Eric, I'll be bouncing some ideas off you right now as far as we have a range of age groups, and again, but especially even though you are all athletes, we kind of have to treat your day all the same as that we know you're going to be at school. So I know there's several people on there. I think I've seen Marcus on here, Drake on here, Nick has come of the Warren family, kind of Jackson, you're all on here. So what you need to be kind of looking at is when you're waking up and breaking that fast, and Bertie, you can chop in here again of kind of what we did when we were younger too. What's the first thing you're reaching for? Eric, what is the main things that we see as far as when you work with our athletes in the facility? What are the main food groups that people will instantly reach for, in the morning? And I'm sure, Eric, you'll probably say it's probably going to be cereal, right? Some sort of
cereal, 100% cereal.
Cereal, right? It's going to be cereal, right? So whenever you think, right, of these food groups, and when you're going to make these decisions and stuff, you got to kind of think about, really, if this thing is highly sugared, highly refined, highly processed, right, which is going to be most of your snacks that are pre-packaged and all that kind of stuff, you got to look at that. All of them are highly sugar and very carbohydrate based. Okay, and what the body's going to do, and Eric, you can go into this. How quickly does the body churn through these highly processed, highly sucre, like full of sugar, refined carbohydrates? What's the kind of the digestive time? How long do they actually fuel your body for?
Hours at best. An hour and a half at best. It's what's going to do is spike your insulin levels. It's going to give you a high level of energy, and then it's going to plummet you down. Obviously, the key word here is talking about is processed. Everything is already processed. It's broken down. Once the body doesn't have to break it down, it just burns it at a high rate and moves it through. And then you have an insulin spike, your blood sugars go up, and then eventually the blood sugar is going to come down. And it may pull blood from the sugar from the blood when there's not a lot left, and you feel terrible. So we want to make sure that when you're eating breakfast, you're thinking balance, okay? And I always have a very quick breakfast balance that I give to all my athletes, and this is something that most kids like. They like, you guys like waffles, peanut butter, and banana. You put waffles in a toaster, you spread it with some peanut butter, and you chop up a banana, and you put it, make a sandwich. This only takes 3 minutes, and you're out the door, because 90% of the kids that we train are running at high speed out the door because they're late. This thing takes 3 minutes. You're going to have your protein, fats, and your carbohydrates with very low sugar in this. Everybody likes these three items. You put them together. You can run out the door with this. It's about 600 calories that the body is going to burn. It's going to satiate the body. It's going to burn over a 3 or 4 hour period until you get to your lunch period, and then you're going to do it again. So this is a really, really good, quick lunch with all the macros that we need to cover: proteins, fats, and carbs.
I think that's a fantastic point, Eric, and Jordan, thank you for kind of steering that conversation as well. I think when we're discussing, obviously, across the board here, I think we've got some 2009s all the way up into U19, so 2004s in this group. So I think the idea that we have to kind of talk about is also the convenience aspect, and you guys as young athletes and players who put so much into the game and obviously care a lot about your performance and your improvement as well, is sometimes turning the easy option down at times, whether there is a sugary snack that you can choose or a piece of fruit. And as Eric mentioned, the balanced and more nutritious stuff in terms of your macronutrients of your fats, your proteins and carbohydrates could be as simple as that sandwich that he just mentioned there. And this is really part of your education as young athletes as well. And that's why we're providing these resources. We're obviously not able to be at every meal with you guys, but being able to educate yourself on what you do put into your body is then going to affect your performance Monday through Thursday in practice, but then also in the preparation for the weekend as well. So there also becomes a lot of ownership coming onto you guys as athletes as well, to one, kind of absorb this information that you're getting from the experts that we have on this presentation today, go through these resources that we're just going to click through very shortly. As we mentioned, that some of them will be lengthier documents. So, for example, this weekly nutrition plan, you're able now to access this on a regular basis. You might be able to print it off and really go through some of these ideas. And then obviously myself, Jordan and Eric are also here for any questions that you guys might have after the conversation tonight. So obviously there's a lot of information, but being able to kind of understand, okay, what you're eating, when you're eating it, and how much you're eating. But then also going into the food groups as well of the whole grains there that you see on the page, the proteins, the fats, fruit and vegetables, and then also what you're doing on off days or lighter training days versus your heavier training days. For example, some of the boys and girls that are on the call tonight, we understand that Tuesdays and Wednesdays most likely are going to be our heavier days at training. So then you might understand that you might have to amp up what you're eating. Now, the idea of calories can sometimes be a bit of a tricky topic to cover. But the big thing for myself and experience as well is that sometimes as athletes we undereat, and we're there and sometimes we're matching what the other children are having in the school cafeteria, but sometimes they're going home and just sitting on the couch when we might be running upwards of 10 kilometers in a training session, as some of our Beyond Pulse metrics have shown this past season. So understanding how much we put into our body is also a really, really important thing. So as I progress through this presentation, this screen here gives you a bit of an overview of what a weekly nutrition packet should look like. And once again, I'd love and really encourage you guys, once you get sent this via Team Snap this evening, to maybe print it out or have it on your iPad or your laptop and read through it. You don't obviously have to read through it in one evening, but you might be able to start to educate yourself on what you're inputting into your system as well. One, to fuel that recovery, and then also to fuel the performance at that weekend as well. So this is the weekly nutrition plan that you will be getting. The hydration.
If I may, Barnsey, if I may.
Yeah, for sure.
We have to understand that you guys are putting out an abundance of energy. Your energy is measured in calories, right? So we can measure your energy through a resting metabolic rate test. And there's an example of how you can do it mathematically, but we have a machine here that does that. What we want to do is be able to support that output. Now, you're going to be putting out a lot more calories than normal because the heat's going to generate more energy. You're going to be putting out more energy. You have to support that output with your intake. Food is measured in calories. And it's not a coincidence that food is measured in calories and your body's energy is measured in calories. So we can say that food is energy. The more food that we're able to put into our body, the more energy we're going to be able to put out. There's only a finite amount of energy in your body that you're going to put out before it dampens the amount of energy it will put out. So you have to make sure that you're able to unlock that with the food sources that you, when it's time to eat, not whether you want to or not, but because you're supposed to. I'm supposed to eat now because I have to fuel my systems, one, to get ready for tonight, or two, to recover from.
Oh, sorry, Eric. I think you've just muted yourself. Eric, if you could hear me, you've accidentally muted yourself.
Eric, I think his phone's cut out. Oh, he's back. There you go.
Yep.
Are you?
But yeah, you cut out a little bit there.
Okay.
That's okay. So
that's fine. But again, Burnsy, as you said, the general gist of it again is the very simple equation. You're going to get out what you put in. And if you make that decision and take that decision of every meal you have, is this good for my body? Is this going to give me the desired results I want on the field? in the future and all that kind of stuff. You know, you just educate yourself with this material, as Burnsy's saying, you know, and it's all about making better decisions at the end of the day. Again, it's up to you. Accountability. I know Burnsy and as a club, they're really pushing that you are really, as far as nutrition, you are in charge of kind of how you hold on to that and take that moving forward. And what we're trying to do with these documents is just try and give you the best knowledge to be able to make the best decisions that you can.
Fantastic. Thank you, Cookie. Eric, I've got the hydration is key infographic up. Would you like to give a brief little overview on that, and before we go into the game day document?
Yeah, so obviously when you're hydrated, your better performance, lower core temperature, and heart rate improves brain function when you're hydrated. Your body is 95% water. We want to make sure that we're hydrated. When you are dehydrated, reduced performance, increased risk of heat illness, fatigue, overheating, okay, headaches and muscle cramps. When your water is void, when your body's void of that water, there's no muscle action, right? So we need to be hydrated for muscle action, for continued muscle action. We have a chart here that shows urine color. We need to be very aware of what color our urine is when we go to the bathroom. That way we know that we need to hydrate. Hydration starts first thing in the morning. If you're hydrating an hour prior to your practice, you're probably not going to make it through practice, right? The water's going to come right out. Determine your levels of hydration. The lower the number, the better the result, obviously. 2 to 3 hours before you exercise, drink 17 to 20 ounces of water or a sports drink. Specifically water at this point, because it is so hot. We certainly need water. And I would even say go as far as to putting a little bit of sodium in your water. That way your body's absorbing the water with the sodium. It's going to load right into the muscle. When you have water in the muscle, it needs something to be held in that muscle. Sodium is that one thing that's going to hold water in the muscle to give you muscle action. Otherwise, you're just going to sweat it out, right? And that's when you get the cramps and such. During exercises, drink 3 to 6 ounces of water every 20 minutes. Just making sure that you're sipping, not gulping water. You should already be hydrated. Post-exercise, I would drink 24 ounces of water or a sports drink. Again, I mentioned Pedialyte Sport is a very good one for to bring back electrolytes very, very quickly. So yeah.
Fantastic. And I think what we preach here at the club as well is that hydration is a constant thing, and obviously sometimes we feel the need to hydrate excessively prior to whether it be training or games, but especially on the boys' side, I know that each player is provided one of these body armor bottles, and my biggest encouragement is to keep one of those with you at all times with it throughout the school day, and you're constantly filling that bottle up, whether it be at a water fountain or whatever, so you're able to now stay hydrated throughout the day, and then also follow those hydration timelines for competition down at the bottom there, as Eric mentioned.
Yeah, I just think that, again, it's good that we're hydrating, we're drinking the water, but we also have to recognize that the minerals that are going to help hold that water into the muscle for action. Again, we don't want to just drink it and then sweat it out and then be dehydrated. I drank a gallon of water. Well, you sweat the whole gallon out because of the fact that we weren't able to do those things. We didn't eat properly. So it all comes full circle into nutrition. And now we're talking about micronutrients. When we're talking about the sodium and the potassium and the magnesium for all those muscle actions to occur.
Fantastic. So as we progress into the last document, and it seems more of a lot of words on here, so I'll let Eric do his thing, kind of giving a little overview of what we should expect from ourselves and our habits on a game day or leading into game day. And then also, as we know, sometimes we're playing multiple games in the weekend. So whether we are at a showcase event or whether the girls programs, you guys do your double headers. So understanding how important that the nutritional aspects are in also that providing the right substance for performance leading in, but also the immediate recovery in order for a quick turnaround in terms of a double header weekend.
So there's a lot going on there. Obviously, we start 48 hours prior to a game to start thinking about fuel resourcing and making sure that our body has enough energy. Now, do you guys normally wind down your practices Thursday, Friday, getting ready for game day? Is that how that operates?
Yeah, typically. So the programs we practice Monday through Thursday, and then typically Thursday is starting to tapering down in terms of the load. Friday is usually an off day for both the women and men's programs, and then typically we'll play on a Saturday or Sunday at the weekend.
So that's great. So you're tapering down your workout load, so your output starts to come down. That's when your nutrition needs to increase, right? So not only are we recovering from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but we're getting our fueling systems ready for the game on Saturday through Thursday and Friday. Thursday should be your big meals. That should be really big, wholesome meals. Friday should be, again, really good, solid meals. Salmons and pastas and vegetables, phytonutrients and phytophenols in the vegetables and the fruits that you're eating. Game day is a different story. Game day should be eating 2 to 3 hours prior to your game. Something light, nice light meals. Eggs and maybe some oats and things of that nature for breakfast. And starting to hydrate at that point. You want smaller portions. You don't want to overstuff yourself and feeling heavy on game day. Obviously, we talked about breakfast and lunch options are chicken and pesto with pasta with some dried ripe tomatoes and spinach. Again, very colorful, very light foods. Halftime breaks, you want carbohydrates. You want to eat even some Uncrustable sandwiches, things of that nature, some fruit. Some bars, some light bars, things of that nature. I really like the Uncrustables. It's a quick fix. It's a little bit of sugar. It gives you that little bit of energy that you may need between games. It's very quick, and nobody doesn't like Uncrustables, right? Those are the best things ever. So I really recommend those. Believe it or not, I know they're processed, but they give you that quick turnaround of energy that you really need. Now, post game, your body's in a catabolic state, meaning it's eating itself. It's empty of the food that stores that you put in. We really need to bring those glycogen stores back to health. And that's the carbohydrates. That's the pastas and the sweet potatoes, which is a nice, slow burning carbohydrate, slow release, full of potassium, even if it's sweet potato fries. We're still getting those nutrients that the sweet potato will give you. Big meat, steaks and things of that nature. That way, again, while the body's recovering, it's not burning it up very quickly. That's a slower burning protein, a slower burning carbohydrate to let the body heal from that game that you did. Double headers, again, if you're talking about back-to-back days, you want to make sure that you are getting those nutrients that first post game. The next morning, get up and do the same thing. Make sure that you're hydrating all the way through. Obviously, you can see the examples of each one of those are here. I'm not going to go through them all, but just make sure that you're looking at those and knowing that you have to eat something between games, between double headers and such.
Fantastic. Appreciate that, Eric. Well, without further ado, guys, and I know I want to be very conscious of everyone's time tonight, I'll progress into the Q&A. So maybe if we could just limit it to 3 questions. So either to ask myself, Cookie, or the expert, Mr. Eric here, from the audience, and maybe if there are no questions, I'll finish it up with some final remarks. But without further ado, if anyone has any questions, please unmute yourself, and do me a favor, let me know of your name and the team that you play for prior to asking your question. I'm going to call someone out if I haven't got any questions here. See who's on the
Drake, step up. Come on, Drake. Ask a question.
Okay, Jordan Cook has called out Drake Wenger.
What should be a calorie goal for someone that's growing our age?
Great question, Drake. So Eric, to give a bit of context, Drake is in the U15 age group. As we know, that is a prime age for, especially on, well, both sides, boys and girls, for their peak height velocity. So a lot of growth going on, hormones going off the charts as well. What is a peak or an ideal calorie intake for someone growing?
So if you're putting out anywhere from 2,700 to 3,500 calories a day on average, the 15, 16-year-old athlete is probably putting that out. I would say anywhere from 500 to 700 calories less than what you're going to burn. That way you stay in deficit. The body's going to burn at a high rate. It's going to be efficient. It's going to store energy into the muscle to be used, as opposed to creating a fat cell and storing that. The other side is if you're not eating enough food and you're burning 3,500 calories, the body's going to dampen the amount of energy put out. So we have to make sure that we're getting those calories that we need in 4 meals a day, 1 or 2 snacks. If you're doing that, then you're most likely taking in the calories that your body's going to need to support your output.
Fantastic, great question. Anyone else? Cooper Bradshaw, calling you, if you can hear me. Anything from yourself?
I don't have any questions.
No questions?
No, sir.
Okay, guys. Well, I won't call anyone else out. Drake, thank you for your question. For myself, guys, as a coach and as a sports performance director here at the club, I think these are great resources for obviously you guys to really take initiative upon. Have a read of it. Work if there's too much information in there, obviously use your parents as for guidance. Sorry. And then also, if you do have any further questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Cookie or Eric. I'll be sure to send the contact information in the email correspondence this evening via TeamSnap. But also, from my perspective, I think it comes down to habits, boys. And obviously, as a former player myself, I think even at the younger age groups, I see Mr. Nick Warren on here and Quinn Meyer. So you've got 2010s and 2009s on the call here tonight. It's about building a good understanding of what you need to perform at a high level, and also making good choices. You know, sometimes that convenient thing at school, and I know sometimes cafeteria food is not always the best. Believe me, my school wasn't great when I was your age for food, but being able to understand what's going to fuel you for the weekend, because I know how much passion and energy and enthusiasm that you guys put into that weekend performance. It'll be a shame if we let ourselves down in terms of that intake of nutrition and what we're putting into our body. So building those habits on a regular basis. Now we're always going to have what we like to call a cheat meal here and there. I know that I like a Chick-fil-A sandwich every now and then, but also understanding that the 95% plus of your time should be really building yourself towards that performance at the weekend, but also in practice as well. And the way that we fuel ourselves to practice should be the way that we're fueling kind of the habits in terms of the games as well. Obviously, as mentioned earlier, things will change in terms of how much we're eating, when we're eating it and stuff like that. But the broader scale and the broader message from myself is the habits are going to really define that outcome and performance at the weekend. So without further ado, Cookie, any final words from yourself?
No, you covered all the bases there, mate. Exactly. Again, just reiterate, we're here as a resource. Okay, feel free to reach out, come through Burnsy. Most of you have my information already. Anything like that, reach out to us, and we're obviously here to try and help you moving forward. So definitely try and use this as much as you can.
Fantastic. Well, really appreciate it. Eric, thank you very much for your time. Cookie, as always, a pleasure. Guys, enjoy the rest of the week that you have off. Just as a reminder, the club are holding a celebration of life for our dear friend, Mr. Randy Powell, this Thursday, 6:30 at Patton Park. There'll be a host of festivities. And I really encourage all the groups to come out and really support a fantastic cause of someone who means a lot to the club and has provided such a fantastic facility for us for a very long time. And I think it'll be really great for as many faces to come out and support the Powell family as possible. Once again, that's at Patton Park, in and around the stadium field at 6:30 this Thursday. And we'll be remembering his name and naming the Patton Park Stadium after him and calling it the Randy Powell Stadium. So fitting touch for such a great man. And once again, really appreciate your time, guys, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you.
Thank
Bye,
you, Coach.
guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.